I'm Jen Royle with the Boston Herald, and welcome to another edition of Talk of the Town, sponsored by our new sponsor, Aria Trattoria of the North End, one of Hanover Street's greatest Italian restaurants here in Boston. I'm getting ready to talk to Craig Breslow of the Boston Red Sox, lefty reliever here for the club, and you'll notice right away that he is living up to his reputation as one of the smartest men in baseball, but he's also one of the most giving men in baseball as he is preparing for his second annual SIP Happens Foundation party here in Boston over at the Children's Museum on May 19th. All right, Craig, 9 years in the big leagues. You finally got a ring. How does it feel taking the field as a champion this year?
It feels great. I didn't realize it was 9 years. I guess I'm getting up there in age. Right. But no, obviously, you know, the highlight of any professional career is to win the World Series. And the fact that we were able to do it last year in a city that had obviously gone through so much was pretty incredible. Certainly, you know, we carry some extra weight around with us this year. But, you know, it's certainly something that we all welcome. I will absolutely look back on the 2013 season as a highlight, and hopefully I've got more to look back on also. Yes,
hopefully. All right, you grew up in Trumbull, Connecticut. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. That's kind of on that Yankee Red Sox line. Who did you grow up rooting for? Were you a fan of one team?
I was a fan of one team, but that team was the Mets.
Wow.
So I feel like I can perfectly coexist, you know. Yeah, I would say Trumbull is kind of Fairfield County, southern Connecticut, and it probably lies in an area of the state where the allegiance is certainly New York centric. But I grew up a Mets fan. In the 80s, the Mets were the team to root for. Obviously, the '86 World Series.
Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah. So you know, but now my loyalties have shifted.
Yeah, 1986. That was the first time I saw my father throw a lamp across the living room.
Yeah, and the first time I think I stayed up really late to watch the end of a baseball game.
Okay, you went to Yale. Couple quotes here that I think are very funny. First of all, a Minnesota newspaper called you the smartest man in baseball at one point. Also, in 2010, you were voted by the Sporting News one of the top 20 smartest athletes. Clearly, I'm not one of the smartest. How does that make you feel?
Well, I try to limit my exposure. I don't want to overexpose myself. I keep fooling the right people, and I'd like to continue that trend. But you know, the one thing that I say is there are, you know, we always read so much about the trouble that professional athletes are getting into, and the nicknames they moniker for doing things that maybe aren't so much on the up and up. So being the smartest guy is something I can live with. It comes with a little bit of ribbing from my teammates, but I'm not sure I would trade that nickname in for anything else.
Okay, so Mike Messina probably would give you a run for your money with that nickname. When I covered the Yankees, he did the New York Times crossword puzzle. Can you finish it? He finished it.
I heard Mike's a sharp guy, and we never had the pleasure of playing with each other, but certainly against each other. You know what? I stick to the USA Today crossword because I feel like I can finish that one in a pretty short amount of time. I'm more of a science guy than a crossword guy, so I'll defer to him when it comes to, you know, 7 across. But.
All right, great segue. Molecular biophysics major in biochemistry. Okay, I can't even pronounce those, as you can tell. If you weren't a baseball player, what would you have been?
I would have been a doctor. I have been fascinated by medicine for as long as I can remember. I think it started when I was 8 or 9 years old and broke my wrist in a soccer game. I was struck by a kicked ball, and it just happened to hit me right and fracture my wrist. Not necessary to mention that it was kicked by a girl, but you know, I think I was just mesmerized by the ability to walk into a hospital, have a doctor come up to me, kind of set the bone, put me in a cast, and you know, 6 weeks later I was symptom free. And probably as a frustrated athlete, if I were going into the medical world right now, I probably would be an orthopedic surgeon. No offense to any orthopedic surgeons, but I feel like that's the natural transition for people interested in medicine whose athletics careers have run out.
Okay, I'm feeling dumber as this interview goes on. I just want to let you know. Okay, so let's get into your sister, Leslie, who was diagnosed with cancer when she was 13. You were 11. Did I get that right? And obviously she's healthy now. Well, maybe not obviously. That's why you started the Strike 3 Foundation. Talk about your foundation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you know the the soccer incident at 8 or 9 was kind of my introduction into medicine, and certainly the diagnosis and treatment of my sister, when I was 11, was the confirmation that medicine is really just a fascinating and remarkable field. And so in 2008, I started the Strike 3 Foundation, literally born out of a conversation on the couch in my parents' house with a friend of mine. I had yet to play a full season in the big leagues, but just felt like as my baseball career began to take hold, if I was going to kind of diverge from the medical world, at least in terms of eventually going to medical school, then I wanted to make sure I remained connected somehow. And so we kind of took up the fight to eradicate pediatric cancer back in 2008, and today in 2014 we've raised over $2 million.
That's amazing. And I think probably, as you would agree, one of the greatest things about being an athlete is being able to raise that kind of a money for something you feel so strongly about.
Absolutely. There's a cause that, there is some cause that many athletes are passionate about, and obviously we've got this unique and kind of narrow window to kind of cast our voice. And the support that I've gotten from my teammates, from the Red Sox organization, from the city of Boston, and actually throughout the country. We've done a number of fundraisers elsewhere as well. But the attraction that these guys bring makes it a lot easier to fundraise, and it makes our brand visibility much greater. But at the same time, I think the most important factor is to consider that we have an all-volunteer staff, so nearly all of the money can go to cause. Our expenses are under 2%, so when people are donating to our organization, they can do so with the confidence that their dollars are going to actually help kids.
That's incredible. Okay, so you have a big event coming up on May 19th. This is the second annual SIP Happens. Talk about that.
Sure. So SIP Happens is as you said, will be held on May 19th at the Boston Children's Museum, and it will be a wine tasting and food pairing experience with many of my teammates. Last year, as you said, we did the event and raised over $100,000. Got the participation of, I think, 22 of 25 guys on the roster.
Right. Who were those three? No,
I don't want to mention any names, although maybe I could guilt everyone into coming this year. But we got great participation from local vendors, restaurants, vineyards, beer and wine distributors, and so that's a major way that we're able to keep costs down, because all of the food and beverages are donated. We've got a bigger venue this year. The museum can hold up to, I think, 1,000 or 1,200 people. It's a great It's a great place. So we're incredibly excited. I think we've nearly tripled our ticket sales to date as compared to where we were last year. And so this has the potential to be our biggest fundraiser to date. And with a little bit of help, I think we can confirm that.
All right, that is fantastic. How can people get tickets?
So the easiest way is to visit our website, which is strike3foundation.org, and there's a bunch of information about sponsorship opportunities and more information about the mission of our organization, or siphappens2014.org is a direct link to purchase tickets.
All right, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. I feel like I have to go read a book now or something.
Don't feel that. Just hope for a Red Sox win.
All right, I'll do that as well. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talk about a class act right there, and a little bit of a smarty pants, huh? So thank you to Craig Breslow for his time, and we wish him all the best on May 19th. Remember, if you want to get tickets, it's www.siphappens2014.org. So that'll do it for this edition of Talk of the Town. Log on to bostonherald.com every Thursday to see which Boston athlete or manager or sports figure, or not even from Boston, we'll be highlighting next.